Right then, okay, we are hitting issue 44 of Combat Patrol, a paint issue and a very grey paint issue with two types of grey. One for regular painting miniatures, the other is a technical paint. I'll get onto how you use that in a video in a little bit, but let's see what's in the actual issue. Right, I'm gonna come out and say this right now. If we have a technical paint in the issue, they better actually show us how to use it. The number of issues that we've had where they don't actually tell you how to use the paint is insane. Honestly, there's no doubt about that. So I'm going to prejudge this. If it isn't in here, it's a bad issue, because why give us a paint like this and then not show us what to do with it? To start with that, I like the fact that we got the Death Corps on the front. The Death Corps are one of the coolest armies, a kind of mix of World War One, French and German in aesthetic with the 40k twist to it. I've got a lovely Death Corps army, and oddly enough, greys are a major colour that I use on them. Right, here we go. Let's have a look what we've got here. So it's interesting that we've thrown straight into the painting with a technique of dry brushing. So you can see the logic is just basically take a paint, wipe it off on some tissue paper, and you end up with a very dry brush. And then it can basically, on things like terrain or very large models with a lot of details, create instant shadow and highlight. So in that regard, it's good that they're actually showing a technique. And you can see that, oh good, they're even sort of saying, well, okay, and what if you make a mistake? Well, this is how you fix it. Dry brushing can wreck your brushes. There is no other way to put it. I'll probably be accused of just being very bad at taking care of my brushes. And I'm not even going to deny that accusation. I'm probably terrible at taking care of my brushes. But yeah, anyway, so when you're doing dry brushing, make sure you actually buy a brush that is meant or works for dry brushing. Another thing I would say is, if you're dry brushing tanks and buildings, my personal opinion is you should get brushes like that. So very sort of fanning out. So do your dry brushing technique with that. You'll cover a lot more area a lot quicker, and it works. Same with what's it called now? My brain will turn on this morning. Makeup brushes. So basically they're good for dry brushing with. Good. We've also got a technique of basing. So this is what's good about these technical paints, is you plop them on, and then what happens is, as it dries, they create textures. So this one, I believe, creates a very rough granite-like effect. However, you can get ones that create cracked effects. I think Sterland Mud, I think it is, creates a lovely crackle effect. So it is actually worth looking into the different type of texture paints there are, so that you can get a different approach to your terrain. Yeah, this one goes on very like granite, like roughness. But as I said, you can get ones that look like baked earth. There's loads of cool ones. You can also get like things like this, which are like a wet mud effect, and they stay wet looking even afterwards. So there's some really nice, if you look around, some nice basing paints. I think I might use this technical potentially on my Chaos guys. I might potentially use it for them. So yeah, and they're giving you some really nice basing paint methods. I remember in Stormbringer they also taught how to use excess parts from your sprues to decorate your bases, and I hope they do that in a future issue. Okay, so along with a really solid painting technique part, including dry brushing and basing, very positive, definitely worth a thumbs up on that one. A little bit about our orcs. So Gork and Mork, the gods of the orcs, who are brutal and cunning. Well, actually, brunningly cunning and cunningly brutal, as they are described. If you ever actually play Warhammer Fantasy or Age of Sigmar, you will find that Gork and Mork exist there as well, although they're considered to be like a twin-headed god, if memory serves, due to some warp shenanigans that happened. What else have we got here? We got a nice little bit about the orcs and their behaviours and how their relationship with psychics in a lot of ways. So divine motives, weird energies. A little talk about ranged weaponry, so the different types of ranged weapons you'll come across within Warhammer 40k, which is obviously very wide ranging and very eclectic. You get everything from bioweapons to exotic energy weapons. It's quite crazy. A nice little story as well, which is quite cool. We seem to have a commando here. Now, it's a 50-50 toss that could be a Blood Axe commando or it could be a Death Skull commando. I'm going to assume Death Skull because the war paint is blue, and that is a common thing with Death Skulls. They do love their blue war paint. But it could be a Blood Axe's commando's attempt to just blob on some camouflage. They have very, how do I put this, childlike understanding of how things like camouflage work and so on. Okay, aircraft, how to use aircraft. Now that's an interesting one that they've brought this one in so early, because we are getting some gyrocopters in the future. Now, say I'm getting gyrocopters in the future in like the next delivery. However, I just thought I'll pop and show this because actually I do have a few gyrocopters. Deathcopters, not gyrocopters. So it's good that actually they're talking about aircraft in advance. So actually, do you know what? This is quite a cool issue. There's something about the way that when they do their paint issues, they do tend to layer on some really good ideas. Oh, look at that as well now. Look at those Genestealers. I love that colour scheme on them. That's a cool colour scheme for Genestealers, isn't it? The Genestealer cults, to be precise. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I'm actually looking forward to getting the Genestealer cults. They are really cool as a force. A mix of hybrids and Tyranids. Right then, so actually I am thumbs up on this issue. It's actually got a lot going for it, and they show you how to use this to dry brush and this to actually create bases. As a set of colours, this is what I would call a lighter grey. It's not the lightest grey, but it's slightly lighter to the mid. It's a lighter mid grey. This is a very dark grey, but it has a very specific job. You would unlikely apply it to a model itself, unless of course you were making something like a statue. So if you wanted to make a statue that looked like it was made of very rough rock, like not the strongest rocks, it's actually potentially a very good way to go. So there we go. I'll do a little paint video when I can. But what I'm kind of conscious of is I've got a lot of orcs to paint, a lot of Chaos Space Marines to finish the tone and highlight on. Unfortunately, I've fallen so behind on my painting, just because I've been a combination of very busy and unfortunately having bad flare-ups. So I'm trying my best, and then the heat in the UK at the moment is making painting a painfully slow process. So there we go. Issue 44 gets a big thumbs up from me. It's a good issue. It's a clever, it's got a lot of stuff going on. So thumbs up on this one. I was worried that they'll give you paints and not tell you how to use them again. So thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.